In the heart of Africa, a silent terror lurks in the shadows of many communities. It is not a tangible threat, but a deep ingrained belief that has shaped societies for centuries. Witchcraft. This belief system, rooted in fear and misunderstanding, has led to countless tragedies, torn family apart, and hindered progress in many African nations. But what if I told you that this fear is based on a myth? That the power we attribute to witchcraft is nothing more than a manifestation of our own fears and lack of understanding. Before we delve deeper into the African context, it is crucial to understand that this belief in witchcraft is not unique to Africa. To illustrate this, let's journey back to 17th century Salem, Massachusetts, where one of the most infamous witch hunts in history took place. In early 1692, Salem village, now part of Danvers, Massachusetts, began to witness a series of bizarre and inexplicable events. It all started with two girls, a 9-year-old Betty Paris and her 11-year-old cousin Abigail Williams. These children began exhibiting strange behaviors that baffled and terrified the community. They would fall into fits, screaming and throwing objects, contorting their bodies in unnatural ways, and speaking in incomprehensible voices. Confused and frightened, the villagers sought answers. A local doctor, unable to find a medical explanation for the girl's condition, made a chilling diagnosis. He said the children had been bewitched. This pronouncement sparked a wave of fear and suspicion that would soon engulf the entire community. As the news of the afflicted girls spread, other young women in Salem began to exhibit similar symptoms. The community, gripped by panic, demanded action. Soon, 3 women were arrested. Tituba, an enslaved woman of the Caribbean origin who worked in the Paris household, a homeless beggar, and a poor elderly woman. When brought before the village magistrate, something unexpected happened. Tituba, likely under duress or hoping to save herself, confessed to being a witch, but she didn't stop there. She went on to claim that there were other witches in Salem working in leagues with her to destroy the Puritan community. Her confession poured fuel on the already raging fire of hysteria. What was followed was a period of mass accusation, trials, and executions. The evidence used in these trials will be considered ludicrous by today's standards. The magistrate in the courts were using spectral evidence, testimonies about dreams and visions, and the afflicted girls' fits and screams during the proceedings was seen as a proof of the accused guilt. By the time the witch hunt ended in 1693, hundreds had been accused. 18 people had been executed by hanging, and 1 man had been pressed to death for refusing to enter a plea. The Salem witch trials stand as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of mass hysteria and the danger of allowing fear and superstition to override reason and justice. Interestingly, years later, scientists discovered a possible explanation for the initial behaviors that sparked the witch hunt. They found that the wheat in Salem may have been contaminated with ergot, a fungus that can cause symptoms similar to those exhibited by the afflicted girls, including muscle spasms, vomiting, and hallucinations. This historical account serves as a stark reminder that witch hunts are not confined on any single culture or continent. They are a human phenomenon, born out of fear, ignorance, and the need to explain the unexplicable. In many African societies, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa, belief in witchcraft remains prevalent. From the Abagusi in Kenya to the Zulu in South Africa, stories of people flying on brooms, controlling wild animals, or casting evil spells are commonplace. But let's pause and ask ourselves, in this age of advanced scientific achievement, why do these beliefs still persist? According to my assessment, here are the root causes of these beliefs in witchcraft. 1. The fear of the unknown. Human beings have an innate need to explain the world around them. When faced with unexplicable events such as sudden illnesses, crop failure, or personal misfortunes, they tend to attribute this to simple explanations such as witchcraft. Number 2. Social tensions and economic strife. Often, accusations of witchcraft are not about supernatural beliefs at all. They are a manifestation of deeper social issues such as land disputes, jealousy over success, or attempts to marginalize vulnerable members of the society, often elderly women. Number 3. Lack of education and scientific understanding. In communities where access to education and scientific knowledge is limited, supernatural explanations fill the void of understanding. According to my assessment, these three are the primary reasons for such beliefs. What are the consequences of these beliefs? The belief in witchcraft is not harmless. It has real, often devastating consequences. Here are some of the consequences that are born from these unfounded beliefs. Number 1, violence and death. Countless individuals, often the most vulnerable in the society, have been brutally attacked or killed due to witchcraft accusations. Number 2, economic stagnation. Fear of success can stifle entrepreneurship and economic growth. Number 3, health crisis. Attributing illnesses to witchcraft can prevent people from seeking proper medical care, exacerbating health issues in communities. Number 4, erosion of social bonds. Witchcraft accusation can tear families and communities apart, destroying the very social fabric that African societies hold dear. For those who are still skeptical about my sentiments, let us apply some critical thinking to some common beliefs about witchcraft. Number 1, if witches could fly, why aren't they employed by airline companies? The aviation industry is worth billions. Surely, if such abilities existed, they will be harnessed for profits. Number 2, if witches could cause illnesses at will, why do they fall sick and die themselves? Wouldn't they use their powers to protect themselves? Number 3, if witchcraft was real, won't it be scientifically documented by now? In an age where we can photograph black holes and manipulate DNA, surely we would have concrete evidence of supernatural powers if they existed. Now, what is the way forward? It is time for a new narrative in Africa. One that is based on reason, education, compassion, and growth. Here are some of the ways that we can employ to move forward as a continent. Number 1, promote education. Let us invest in science, education, and critical thinking skills from an early age. Number 2, let us address underlying social issues. Tackling the root cause of witchcraft accusations such as poverty, land dispute, and social inequalities can go a long way to eliminating such accusations in our society. Preserve cultural heritage wisely. Let us recognize the rich cultural heritage that we have as an African society and discard what is harmful to us. Number 4, empower communities. We should encourage community-led initiatives to combat witchcraft beliefs and protect vulnerable members of the society. The real magic in this world isn't found in spells or curses. It is in the incredible potential of the brain and the spirit of a human being. It is in our ability to learn, to grow, to innovate, and to build a better world for ourselves and future generations. As Africans, we have a choice. We can cling to our outdated beliefs that hold us back, or we can embrace a future built on knowledge, understanding, and mutual respect. Power is not in witchcraft. It is in us. Let us use it wisely. The Salem witch trials remind us that the tendency to seek supernatural explanations for the unknown is a universal human trait. But they also show us that we can move past these beliefs today. Currently, Salem is a thriving community that has confronted its dark past and learned from it. Africa too can confront and overcome the harmful aspects of witchcraft belief, paving the way for a brighter, more rational future.